The iPhone 6s was released in 2015, and for a phone that was released almost 5 years ago, it's safe to say that it has outlived most of its competition. Hint, hint, Samsung Galaxy S6. But this is not a Samsung Galaxy video, this is an Apple iPhone video. So, with that statement alone, it's pretty clear to us that the iPhone 6s is a very good phone. But as it approaches the end of its lifespan, is it worth buying in 2020? Is it still going to stack up? And that's what we're here to find out today, right? So, without further ado, let's get into the iPhone 6s review in 2020. So, first off, the body. The iPhone 6s is sporting a Gorilla Glass front with an aluminum back that sandwiches the aluminum frame around it. So essentially, it's an aluminum phone. The iPhone 6s sports the lovely clicky home button that is well beloved and known to us all, and has the lovely Touch ID. The Touch ID works very well on this device and is almost on par with the later Touch ID models. So on to the software. The iPhone 6s runs the current latest version of iOS 13, and that's iOS 13.4. It's expected to continue with getting the iOS 13 updates, but it might not be getting iOS 14, but that's just the projection for now. And seeing that it came out in 2015, I think that it's a great thing. iPhones are known to age well, and this phone is by no means an exception. And to run the current software, it needs some good internals. The 6s has the Apple A9 chipset with a dual-core 1.84 GHz Twister CPU. It has 2 GB of RAM and has storage variants of 16, 32, 64, and 128 GB. And it's an iPhone, so yeah, it doesn't have expandable storage, unfortunately, but that's how they sell. So, and to run all this software, it has to have a good enough battery. It has a non-removable lithium ions, 1715 milliamp hours and 2750 milliamp hour battery in the smaller and bigger models respectively. The battery life is definitely not the best, so if you're planning to get this phone and get an all-day usage out of it, that is by no means the case. So that's definitely a downside for this phone, and where it falls short of keeping up with the 2020 standards. Now, the display on the 6s is actually pretty decent. It has a 4.7-inch screen on the smaller model and a 5.5-inch screen on the bigger model, that is the 6s and the 6s Plus respectively. It's an IPS LCD captive touchscreen with a pixel density of 326 pixels per inch, so not bad at all. It doesn't get very bright when put into some harsh sunlit environments, but it does relatively well when it's inside, which is expected. The best thing about the iPhone 6s display though is arguably the 3D touch. And now onto the camera. So the camera on the iPhone 6s is actually not bad. For 2015, this was one of the best cameras out there, and even now in 2020, it's actually still a really good camera. It has a 12 megapixel primary sensor at f2.2 aperture, producing good quality images. Pictures are sharp, autofocus is a little slow, but nonetheless still good, and these are all with HDR off. And hey, this phone can even record 4K video. 4K. 4K. It came out in 2015 and it can record 4K video. Take a look. Psych. I actually only have 1080p at 60 frames per second video on this phone because I didn't get to do the 4K video, but just from this video clip you can actually tell that it's a really good sensor, and that despite it not being 4K, you can only imagine how much better 4K can be. The only complaint I really have about the 6S camera is the lack of vibrance in colors and the prominent shadows that it has. Like, there are some very dark spots, especially in this picture of the field. You can see that over the trees the shadows are very dark. But that's the only complaint I have about the 6S camera. Otherwise, it's a really good camera, especially in 2020 when there are some phones out here that are being produced and the cameras are just not that good. They have high numbers, but they don't perform well. But the iPhone 6S is definitely living up to its standard that it set back in 2015. And now for a few little extra things about this phone that I personally love, that I think you should consider when going for this phone. So, Touch ID is still a thing. Has headphone jack, and it's a 2015 phone that records 4K. 2015 4K. Yeah. Now the iPhone 6S carries a myriad of positives, but when considering to buy a new phone, the negatives are a must to consider. The phone came out in 2015, and though it's running the latest version of iOS, it will still be relatively slow. It's not projected to get iOS 14, and so buying the phone now, there's not much to look forward to in the long run as it relates to getting software updates and getting the newest, latest software version. So that's definitely a downside as to how I see it. And the battery life is not good. So as I was saying earlier, don't expect to get an all-day usage out of this phone. Well, unless you're one of those low-end users and you don't use your phone much anyways. And in that case, it's great for you. And the iPhone 6S design is dated. So in a world where you have the iPhone 8, the iPhone XR, and the iPhone 11, it's safe to say that this aluminum sandwich design is really outdated, and that's where the iPhone 6S really begins to show its age. But hey, here's a review from the owner of this iPhone 6S and his own personal experience with this phone.
Yes, so you don't know this
Start
is...
louder. Alright,
Yes.
go again. Wait, 1, 2, 3, go.
So you don't know, so this is the new iPhone 6S. Yes, this phone is quite an upgrade compared to the last one I had, which was a Huawei Y360. It had like 8 gigabytes. This has 32, and it has Siri. So really and truly, I don't even dial numbers anymore. I just say, hey Siri, call this person, and Siri call that person. So yeah, this has really made me extremely lazy, and I'm thankful for it. And the games on it are good. The speed, everything about this phone is good. I can't say that I can find a disadvantage with this phone. It seems great to me, probably because I haven't seen better yet. So yeah, buy the new iPhone 6S.
In 2020.
In 2020, it is still worth the money.
So guys, I'll leave you on that note. So if you're considering getting an iPhone 6S in 2020, I mean, go for it. It's your choice. However, I wouldn't recommend going for the iPhone 6S now because it's almost at the end of its lifespan. If you can though, you should go for the iPhone 8. And I wouldn't really recommend the iPhone 7 because there were some issues with that phone. So I'd strongly recommend that you go for the iPhone 8 as it's relatively cheaper to buy. In fact, I'll put the Amazon link down below for the renewed/refurbished version of the phone. But if it's out of your price range, then you should definitely go for the iPhone 6S. It's a good phone, there's nothing wrong with it, but as long as you can look past the shortcomings in battery life and its software updates, then the phone is great for you, and I would recommend it to you. In fact, I'll put the iPhone 6s Amazon link down below in the description for you to check it out. And just to reiterate, the iPhone 6s is not a bad device by any means. So thank you for watching, guys. This is the first video that I'll be posted on this channel, and I have more videos to come. I have a lot of video ideas, so you can support by subscribing, and so you can see when those new videos come out. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching.